He walked in with full approval, a steady job, and a big dream. But before he could even sit in the car, someone called the police on him. What happened next got the whole country talking. The car lot shined under the late afternoon sun as Terrell Gaines pulled up in his 2012 Honda Accord. He had been driving that car for over 10 years. Every scratch, every faded spot on the hood was part of his story. But today he was ready to move on. Not because his car broke down, but because he could finally afford something better. After months of working 14-hour days on a tough, stressful contract that almost pushed him over the edge, Terrell had made it through. He'd earned a bonus that finally made his dream possible. He stepped out, adjusting his sunglasses. His polo shirt was tucked into clean khaki pants, and he walked like a man who knew exactly why he was there. He wasn't there to browse. He already knew the SUV he wanted down to the trim, the towing power, everything. All he needed was a test drive, a handshake, and a signature. The Beckman Auto Group showroom in Charleston, South Carolina, was unusually quiet for a Tuesday. A young white salesman, maybe in his mid-20s, thin, with short blonde hair, watched Terrell walk in. His name tag said Kyle. "Hey there, can I help you with something?" Kyle asked, polite but distant. Terrell smiled and reached out to shake his hand. "Yeah, I'm here to check out the 2024 Navigator L Reserve. I've got pre-approval right here," he said, pulling a neatly folded letter from his jacket pocket. Kyle glanced at it, but didn't take it. "Okay, you want to see the price first?" "It's pretty expensive." "I know," Terrell said. "I already did the math. I'm good with it." He kept smiling, still polite. There was a pause, long enough for Terrell to notice it. Not panic, just a shift, a little too long to feel normal. Kyle finally pointed toward the lot. "It's around back. I'll grab the keys. Mind if I ask what you do for a living?" "Software engineer," Terrell said simply. "I'm on a contract working on a logistics upgrade for the Port of Charleston." Yeah, that sounds complicated," Kyle mumbled, as if trying to solve a puzzle that didn't quite fit. While Kyle went to get the keys, Terrell walked to the back of the building where the Navigators were parked. He stopped next to a black one. Deep shine, chrome wheels, cream-colored interior. It was exactly what he had pictured for 3 years. But Kyle didn't come back. Instead, another man walked out, mid-40s, dark blue dress shirt, grey goatee, stiff posture. His name tag said, Travis, manager. Terrell kept smiling, but his jaw tightened just a little. "Good afternoon," Travis said. "Kyle told me you're interested in the reserve." "Yes, sir. I've got financing through Palmetto Credit. My approval letter is in this folder," Terrell said, holding it out again. Travis didn't take it. "Just curious. What made you pick the Navigator?" Terrell tilted his head. "I've been wanting one for a while. I need something for long trips, good tech, and space for family." "Big family?" Travis asked. Terrell paused. "No, but I take care of my niece and nephew on weekends. It helps to have room." Travis gave a quick nod, but didn't look convinced. "Mind if I ask how much you're putting down?" Terrell blinked. "It's all in the paperwork. The letter covers the financing, including my down payment." I know," Travis said quickly. "Just asking, making conversation." Terrell sighed softly. This wasn't small talk. This was a test. He had answered questions like this 100 times, but not here, not now, and not when he was trying to buy something he clearly could afford. Kyle came back, hands empty. "Sorry, the keys are locked in the test drive drawer. Only the senior manager can open it. Might take a while." Terrell looked at both of them. "Is there a reason I'm not being shown the car I asked for?" Travis rubbed his hands. "No, it's just policy. We have to follow certain steps, especially for high-end cars." Terrell looked back at the SUV. "I'm ready. You can check all my info in 5 minutes." But instead of taking the folder, Travis looked at Kyle, then back at Terrell. The air changed again, and Terrell realized this wasn't about policy. The real test had just started. Terrell stood by the navigator for several minutes, watching them whisper inside the showroom. They weren't in a hurry. One leaned against a desk, the other scrolled on a tablet. No keys, no clipboard, no car, just waiting. For what? Terrell didn't know. He checked his watch, 4:36 p.m. He had planned to buy groceries after this, maybe visit his sister's house for dinner, but now those plans felt far away. His stomach tightened, though he hadn't moved. A quiet frustration crept in, not loud, not angry, just cold and familiar. Travis came back out, arms crossed. "Mind coming back inside for a minute?" "Come with me," Travis said. Terrell followed, walking past 2 other salespeople who suddenly found their phones way more interesting than anything else in the room. Inside Travis's glass-walled office, Terrell sat down. Travis stayed standing. Kyle leaned against the doorframe. "So," Travis began, trying to sound casual, "we just need to double-check a few things." "Like what?" Terrell asked. "Your credit letter. Would you mind emailing it instead of just showing the printout?" "Sure," Terrell said calmly. He unlocked his phone, found the PDF from Palmetto Credit Union, and emailed it to the address on Travis's business card. Then he sat quietly while Travis slowly typed on his computer. "Do you have a LinkedIn?" Travis asked suddenly. Terrell looked up. "Yeah, why?" "Just for verification," Travis said. "Want to make sure everything checks out." Kyle gave a short laugh from the doorway. Travis didn't even blink. Terrell's eyes narrowed. "What exactly do you think LinkedIn will tell you that isn't already in my loan documents?" Travis didn't answer. He just kept typing. After a pause, Terrell spoke again, his voice low but steady. "You didn't ask the man who just drove off in that Tahoe 15 minutes ago if he had LinkedIn. You didn't ask him where he worked or how big his family was." "That guy's a regular customer," Travis shot back. "No, he's not," Terrell said firmly. "I saw you. It was his first time here, just like me." Travis looked away. A female associate knocked lightly and peeked in. "Hey, Travis, you got a minute?" "Later," he muttered. The woman glanced at Terrell, paused, and left. Then came the moment that told Terrell everything. Travis leaned forward a little, choosing his words carefully. "Look, we've just had situations. People pretending to be buyers, leaving with cars, using fake approvals. I'm not saying that's you. We just have to be careful." "Careful?" Terrell repeated. "So you're assuming fraud?" "No, Do you know how long I've been working? Do you know how hard I worked to get here?" Silence. "Do I look like someone who needs to fake his way into buying a car?" No answer. Travis shifted. Kyle cleared his throat and looked down. Terrell stood up. "If you want to check something, call the credit union. They'll tell you everything, but I'm not going to sit here like I'm asking for parole." He walked out of the office. Travis didn't stop him. Kyle moved out of the way. Outside, Terrell leaned on the railing near the lot. His phone buzzed, his sister probably checking in. He didn't pick up. He needed a minute to breathe. Behind him, another customer watched from a distance, a middle-aged woman in jeans and a blazer. She had been sitting in the waiting area. Now her eyes followed Terrell, like she knew something wasn't right inside. Travis picked up the phone. "Yeah, it's Travis. We've got a situation. Can you send someone over, just to be safe?" But what Travis didn't know was that someone else had already started recording quietly from across the lot. The heat outside had changed, not the weather, just the weight of it all pressing down. Terrell stood alone by the SUV, arms crossed, working hard to stay calm. A calm man isn't dangerous. A calm man is safe. That's what they always say, right? But sometimes, no matter how still you stand, the storm still finds you. Inside, Travis paced his office. Kyle peeked out the window like they were waiting for a package. But they weren't waiting on a delivery. They were waiting for backup. The call had already been logged. A suspicious person. Possible fake approval. Possible confrontation. All polite code words that said nothing but meant everything. 3 miles away, Officer Brett Lanning got the dispatch. He'd worked Charleston streets for 8 years. Nothing in the call sounded urgent, but the words confrontation and luxury dealership made him sit up straighter. He didn't rush, no sirens, no lights. Back outside, Terrell checked his phone. 2 missed calls from his sister, a text from his friend, Theo. How'd it go? You driving off the lot yet? Terrell didn't reply. How do you even explain this? It wasn't loud, it wasn't obvious. It just sat in the air like smoke, thin, creeping, always there. Behind him, the woman in the blazer had moved to her car. Her phone was held low. She wasn't filming just to pass time. Something had clicked for her. Terrell turned to head back inside when the sound of a car easing into the lot caught his attention. He looked up. A black SUV with police lights, no sirens, rolled to a stop. 2 officers stepped out. One was Brett Lanning. The other, Jen Morano, was younger and moved carefully, alert but not aggressive. They walked with purpose, not rushing but paying close attention. Terrell didn't move, not because he was scared, because he was thinking, calculating. The lead officer stopped in front of him. "Sir, can we have a word?" Terrell raised an eyebrow. "Sure. What's going on?" The officer kept his hand resting near his belt, not on his weapon, but close enough to send a message. "We got a call from the dealership. They had some concerns about possible issues with your paperwork." Terrell met his gaze. "My name's Terrell Gaines. I have a pre-approval from my credit union. I haven't done anything wrong." The officer gave a slow nod, still cautious. "Do you mind showing me your ID?" Terrell handed over his driver's license and the printed approval letter. "I came here to buy a car, that's it." Officer Morano took the documents and started checking them on a tablet. Lanning glanced toward the showroom's glass doors. Travis and Kyle were standing there, arms crossed, watching like they were somehow the victims. "How long have you been here?" Lanning asked. "About an hour. I came in, told them what I wanted, and they've been dodging me ever since. Now we're here." Morano looked up from the tablet. "Everything's legit," she said. "His financing is solid. No issues on record." Lanning turned his gaze back toward the dealership. Inside, Kyle stepped away from the window, face pale. "What would you like us to do, sir?" Lanning asked. Terrell raised his eyebrows. "That's your question. You were called here. And now that you see I've done nothing wrong, maybe you should be asking them why I was treated like this." Lanning didn't reply right away. That's when the woman in the blazer stepped forward, her voice steady but loud enough for everyone to hear. "I've been sitting here the whole time," she said. "That man didn't raise his voice once. He didn't argue. He was patient. They just didn't like him." Lanning turned toward her. "Ma'am, do you have video of the interaction?" She held up her phone. "Sure do. Want me to airdrop it?" Officer Morano took the phone and reviewed the footage. It showed everything. Terrell calmly explaining himself, Travis deflecting, Kyle smirking in the background. It didn't scream it, but it whispered it. Lanning walked back toward the dealership. Inside, Travis stepped forward like he wanted to say something, but whatever words he had died before they could come out. Terrell watched him through the glass. This wasn't finished. The real damage was just getting started. When Officer Lanning entered Beckman Auto, the staff looked like kids caught sneaking out after curfew. Travis's earlier confidence had vanished. Now his eyes were tight, his shoulders stiff. Kyle leaned against the back wall, arms crossed like he needed a shield. Lanning didn't raise his voice. He didn't have to. The quiet did enough. "Mind telling me why we were called here?" he asked Travis. Travis cleared his throat. "There was some uncertainty about the customer's documents. We've had issues before. We just wanted to be careful." "Uncertainty?" Lanning repeated. "Because everything he gave us is valid." Travis shrugged vaguely. "Look, we have to protect ourselves. Luxury cars get targeted for fraud all the time. We've had incidents." "And you thought this was one of those times?" Travis didn't answer. He knew better than to say it out loud, but he didn't apologize either. He let the silence sit there, full of all the words he refused to say. Outside, Terrell leaned against the SUV he'd planned to buy. His hands were in his pockets. His breathing was slow, but his chest felt heavy, like he'd been holding something in for too long. He couldn't afford to look angry. That would just make the story easier to twist. Officer Morano came back with his documents. "You're all good, sir. And I'm sorry this happened." He nodded once. "Not your fault." "I know," she said quietly. "But still." The woman with the phone, Beth Garrison, a teacher from Mount Pleasant, stood nearby, still holding her phone, still watching. Beth wasn't just a bystander anymore. Without asking for it, she'd stepped into the story. And she wasn't going to step out. "Are you going to file a complaint?" she asked Terrell, her voice calm but firm. He looked over at her. "Not yet." "I hope you do. That was awful." He didn't answer. There wasn't much left to say. Inside, the manager finally came back out. "Mr. Gaines," Travis called. "If you're still interested, we can move forward with the sale." Terrell turned around slowly. "No." Travis blinked. "No?" "That's right." Travis scrambled to recover. "I came here ready," Terrell said, his voice steady. "You ignored me. You questioned me. You called the police on me. And now you want to sell me a car." "It wasn't personal," Travis said quickly. Terrell didn't flinch. That's exactly what it was. The words hung in the air, sharp and final. By now, a few more customers had walked in. They didn't hear the whole thing, but they saw enough. The police, the tension, Terrell walking away. Beth raised her phone again. Terrell didn't yell. He didn't give a speech. He just looked at the people nearby, glanced once at the black Navigator he'd come for, then walked to his car. He got in, closed the door, and sat there for a while. No music, no phone call, no engine, just silence. Not because he was defeated, but because he needed to process. Then he turned the key, pulled out, and left. No big scene, no threats, just quiet strength. Beth posted the video with a short caption. "Black man tries to buy a car. Staff calls police. You tell me what part of this makes sense." By that night, the video had nearly 500,000 views. But it wasn't just the views. It was what the video started. It spread fast, first across local feeds, then wider. The clip didn't need music, didn't need edits. It spoke for itself. Terrell's calm, surrounded by authority, was louder than anything else. Beth's post got picked up by a local activist group. Then a regional journalist noticed the dealership in the background. By morning, it was everywhere. Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. The hashtags weren't fancy, they were blunt. Number buying while black, number Beckman Auto, number Charleston. By 8 a.m., Beckman Auto's inbox was flooded. Emails from ex-customers, reporters, even civil rights attorneys. Their voicemail filled up. The dealership's Facebook rating nosedived overnight, from 4.8 stars to 2.3. The comments hit hard. "Is this how you treat paying customers? Do you check LinkedIn for everyone? or just the ones who make you nervous? You've lost my business forever." Inside, Travis looked pale, jaw tight. Kyle kept trying to wipe his social media, but it was too late. Screenshots were everywhere. "I didn't say anything racist," Kyle kept saying. "You didn't have to," a receptionist muttered. Before noon, the dealership's owner, Richard Beckman, stormed in, 60s, wealthy, impatient. He slammed the office door and pulled up the video. "This is what I wake up to?" he barked. "What the hell were you thinking?" "I was following protocol," Travis stammered. "High-end car, couldn't confirm his identity." "He had pre-approval," Beckman snapped. "And you called the cops?" "Are you out of your damn mind?" Kyle tried to speak. Beckman shut him down with a glare. "We're releasing a statement now. It better be out in the next hour." The dealership scrambled. Their first public statement was a disaster. Cold, vague, empty. "We regret the situation that occurred and are reviewing our internal processes to ensure fair treatment for all customers." The internet lit them up. "That's not an apology, that's spin." "Say his name." "Own what you did." Terrell sat in his apartment, laptop open, coffee untouched. His phone buzzed non-stop. Friends, reporters, lawyers. His sister called. This time he picked up. "You okay?" she asked. "Yeah, just tired." "They made you look like a threat for trying to buy a car." "I know." "What are you going to do?" He stared out the window. "I'm not sure yet, but I'm not letting this go." Theo called next. "Man, I saw the video. You went through all that and still kept your cool. I would have snapped." "I thought about it," Terrell admitted. "But then what? They would have twisted it. See? Aggressive, loud, dangerous." I wasn't going to give them that. By the afternoon, reporters crowded the dealership. A few protesters stood out front, holding handmade signs. He was a customer, not a criminal. "We're not threats. We're shoppers." Terrell wasn't there. He didn't want cameras in his face. Not yet. Instead, he answered an email from a local journalist, Camille Rivers. She asked for a sit-down, just Terrell, her, and a small crew. He hesitated, then said yes. They met at a public library the next day. No big lights, no fancy setup, just a quiet table and a couple of microphones. Camille leaned in. "Do you want justice?" Terrell thought about it. "I want the next guy who walks in looking like me to leave with his keys, not handcuffed or humiliated. If this helps make that happen, yeah, I want that." But the dealership had no idea how far this would go or how fast. By Friday morning, it wasn't just a local story anymore. It was everywhere. News anchors debated the video. Panels talked about how Terrell stayed so calm. Articles flooded the internet. Titles like "The Cost of Presumption," "When a Lone Letter Isn't Enough." Even Charleston's mayor made a short statement, called it unfortunate, said it was an opportunity to reflect. Terrell read it twice, then closed the tab without finishing. At Beckman Auto, things kept getting worse. Protesters showed up every morning. Their signs got sharper every day. Customers started cancelling. One major finance partner paused their work with the dealership, said the reputational risk was too high. Inside, Travis barely spoke above a whisper. Kyle just stopped coming to work. His full name and work history had been posted online. The receptionist quit. She was tired of answering angry calls and taking the heat for something she hadn't done. On Saturday, Beckman Auto released a second statement. This time it sounded different. "We want to publicly apologize to Mr. Terrell Gaines. Our handling of his visit was wrong." Mr. Gaines came prepared with proper documents, respect, and the clear intent to buy a vehicle. He deserved better from us. We failed. We are retraining our staff, reviewing our policies, and reaching out to Mr. Gaines privately. We apologize not just to him, but to our entire community. It was better, but it still wasn't enough. That night, Terrell sat down with Camille again, this time for a follow-up. "They're scrambling now," she said, flipping through her notes. "Does any of it feel real to you?" "I think they're scared," Terrell said. "Scared of losing money, scared of what people are saying about them, scared of what this shows about who they really are." "And how do you feel?" He leaned back, steady. "I don't need an apology. I needed respect. That's not something you hand out later. It's something you show from the start. They failed at that." "Do you plan to sue?" "I've talked to some lawyers," he said. "But this isn't really about a lawsuit. It's about the message. You don't get to treat people like suspects just because they don't look how you expect." Camille closed her notebook. "I think people needed to hear that." Terrell nodded. "So did I." Later that evening he went for a walk near the waterfront. He passed two teenagers sharing headphones, watching the video on a phone. "That's him," one whispered. Terrell kept walking. He wasn't looking for attention, he just wanted his dignity. A few days later, something unexpected happened. A different dealership, Gordon and Hines Motors across town, sent him a message. The owner, Leland Hines, wrote personally, "Mr. Gaines, I saw what happened to you. It was wrong. If you're still interested in buying a vehicle, we would be honored to help, with full respect and full transparency." Terrell didn't answer right away. He wasn't sure what to think, but after some thought, he agreed to visit quietly. No cameras, no reporters. When he walked in, Leland met him at the door. No clipboard, no suspicion, just a handshake. "We're here for whatever you need," Leland said. They talked. They ran the numbers. No hoops, no sideways looks, just a normal sale. 2 hours later, Terrell drove off in a charcoal grey 2024 Navigator L Reserve. No cops, no accusations, no apologies needed, just keys. But even after the sale, Terrell knew it was never really about the car. It was about the people who tried to stop him from driving off in the first place. The SUV sat in his driveway for days, spotless. He didn't even drive it. Not because he wasn't proud, he was, but because now the car meant something else. It held everything that went right in his life and everything that went wrong in one afternoon. He wasn't angry, at least not in the way people expected. He was focused. His inbox stayed full. Messages from strangers, people thanking him for staying calm, parents sharing their own stories about being doubted, in boardrooms, classrooms, stores. One message hit him hardest. It came from a young man in Ohio. "I almost quit my job last week after being profiled by a customer. Your story helped me hold my head higher. Thank you." Terrell read it twice, then a third time. He hadn't planned to be an example, but now people were watching. So he posted something, nothing dramatic, just a picture of his new car and a caption. "Respect shouldn't depend on what you drive, what you wear, or where you work. I didn't speak out for sympathy. I spoke out because silence lets this keep happening. Say something every time." Within hours, it had thousands of likes, more importantly, thousands of shares. The story wasn't just about him anymore. People started talking about policies, training, bias, about what fairness really looks like when no one's recording. Camille invited him on her podcast. He almost said no, then changed his mind. "Why do you think this hit people so hard?" she asked. "I think people are tired," Terrell said. "Tired of proving they're not a threat. Tired of all the small humiliations that stack up until someone finally records it, and everyone acts surprised." She let the silence sit. "Maybe," he added, "it makes a few people think before they judge. Maybe it makes them ask instead of assume. That's how change starts." It wasn't flashy, but it was honest. The next week, Beckman Auto tried to move on. They announced sensitivity training. They partnered with a community group. Travis was quietly let go. Kyle's name disappeared from the staff list. But for many, the damage was done, and Terrell's name stayed. He didn't sue, he never asked for money, but his story stuck. One Saturday, he took his niece and nephew for a drive, windows down, music up, laughing, just a regular day. At a red light, a man in a pickup glanced over, did a double take, then gave Terrell a nod. Not the performative kind, just a simple, real nod. Terrell nodded back. He wasn't chasing recognition, he just wanted respect. So maybe the next time someone walks into a dealership, confident, paperwork in hand, the staff will see a customer, not a question mark. Because when you're treated with dignity from the start, you don't have to spend the rest of your life proving you deserve it. If this story made you feel something, anger, hope, frustration, relief, don't scroll past, share it, talk about it, because silence never changed anything, but speaking up just might.